Welcome back, players. I'm Jack with 36 Cancel, and this is Coco the Wise Cat. And as you players at home probably know, Konosuba Legend of Crimson has dropped in English. The set features a totally new kit for almost every heroine, as well as a whole deck made for everyone's favorite chimera, Sylvia. And while I'm super excited to tech that, today we're focusing on another excellent girl from Konosuba, and she's Dankness, the smoking hot masochistic crusader. And in this new deck full of fresh tech from the movie set, we'll be pushing Dankness past her limit and over the edge. Now, a few of the key moments in Konosuba that came across in the expansion are when Dankness and Vanir's fighting spirit collide in a super blessed gut tie. The old Dankness deck that we teched some time ago had a standing level 3 early change combo that was based on that flavor. Well, in the movie set, we see the same idea. And in the new and improved Dankness deck, we have even more ways for Dankness and Vanir to combine. We're doubling down on the early plays, the fusion, and the changes, all for when Dankness puts on the mask. So hold on to your butts for this meme-tastic take on combining the best of the old and the freshest of the new, because this is double down Dankness. As always, let's start at the level 0 and work our way up. And as we peruse the level 0 game, we notice that not much has changed from the old deck, but there's a new 4 of in town. Now, one thing I'll say is that if I wasn't so proud of these foils I owned, I might swap these out for a few more cards to add a little more consistency to the level 0 game. But what can I say? How can I resist putting at least some SWIMSUIT Dankness in my deck? 2500 and plus 1500 onto a less stock. A classic profile for a strong opening play with absolutely bangin' art, along with my other frontrunner, Middle of a Journey Dankness. 3k, can't side, but if you have 3 or more cards in your clock, she gets plus 1k, so the more pain she's feeling, the hotter she runs. Mad flavor and an awesome front row beater. Now, something else that makes an appearance in the front row is Snipe Kazuma. He's one of Konosuba's best tech level 0s, and it's too tempting not to run him. He's only 500 power, but he's packing 2 great abilities. First off, he's a level 0 stock swap, and second, when he's reversed, you can use a card in your opponent's clock, put it into their waiting room, and then put the top card of their deck into their clock. This is an amazing way to screw your opponent out of a color they might need or put away a change target, and you can just blind clock climaxes from the top sometimes, which is extra spicy. Snipe Kazuma is a pretty sweet card, no lies. Now, another great card for us that's a little more specific to our toolkit is Sightseeing in our Carinthia, Dankness. When she comes in, you can pay 1 stock and clock yourself. If you do, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and choose up to 2 yellow characters among them and put them in your hand, and then drop the rest. So basically, there's a high chance that this is just a pay 1, clock 1, and add 2 characters, and there's not much else in the whole game that does that, so obviously we're running it. So that's our front row lineup, but what deck would be complete without some back row stuff? And there's a good amount of it here. We'll start with Chris, our Brainstormer. On your turn, she gives the middle center plus 1500, and she's a tap 2 search Brainstormer. Now, the tap 2 kind of sucks, but the power boost is pretty lit. Not a bad Brainstormer for us at all. Now, we've got some new tech here to close out the level 0. A Rest in the Forest Dankness is part of a whole new package that we're trying out in this deck. She gives everything in front of her plus 500 and has an act ability. If you rest her and discard another Rest in the Forest Dankness, you can salvage a character. So she's a free filter every turn if you have another one of her. It's really nice to have a back row that isn't a dead draw mid-game, but she plays into our game plan in a much bigger way than just that. We'll have to see it when we move into level 1. And oh look, the time is now. We've got some old tech, but mostly new faces, so let's start with what we know. This 1-0 Vanir is a cost 0 stock swapper, which is a really nice way to get rid of pesky combos, but he's got a lot of techs regarding a change ability he has. When he's put into your waiting room, if you pay 3 and pitch a climax, you can put a level 3 Dankness from your hand onto the stage, rested, anywhere. So it's costly, but he changes right into a level 3 at level 1, and the level 3 is a big problem for our opponent, as we saw in the previous deck tech, but our opponent's troubles don't end here. Oh no, we've got a whole new combo to throw at them. Shivering from Disparagement Dankness is a 1-0 4k that gets plus 500 for each other character, so basically a 1-0 6k with a combo. Neat. When she attacks and Orc Invasion is in your climax zone, you can search your deck or search your waiting room for either a character called Forest Rest Dankness or Fierce Battle Vanir and put it into your hand. We've seen Forest Rest Dankness, but we don't know what Fierce Battle Vanir is yet. Well, he's a level 2 that's part of this new strat we're rolling with, and we'll check him out later. But do you see how this is supposed to work? You can search out Forest Rest Dankness, and then use her ability to filter out what you need. The combo also gives us something Dankness really struggled with in the past, which is waiting room access. And it's on attack advantage that searches deck or waiting room. Anybody getting Goblin Slayer vibes? Well, no question, it's a great combo for us, and it's supported by great tools. In the Legend of Crimson movie set, Dankness got her own personal 102k backup, and this is excellent for us because if you thought Dankness was all about stage presence before, you should see the top end now, and you will, soon. And of course, having a 2k backup behind 106ks is pretty sweet. Now at level 1, we have one last support card. Endurance is my forte. Dankness is a base 4k and gets plus 1k on your turn, and when she dies, you can top check 4 for a climax, add it to hand, and then pitch a card. It adds a lot of consistency to our plans and gives us a great way to dig for climaxes we need, especially since we need to pitch one for the level 3 change, so naturally she's in. And that caps out our level 1. We added a lot of strong players here, and as you can see, we're packing a whole new combo with a lot of moving parts. And as we look at the level 2, we're going to see just how far that combo goes. Spoiler, it goes all the way to level 3, but more on that after we cover this Vanir and Dankness. So we've got Fierce Battle Vanir, the 2-1 that has familiar text on it. He's the second search target for our level 1 combo, and he has some abilities. First, when he comes in, you can choose up to 2 cards called MUSCLEBRAINED, CRUSADER, Dankness in your waiting room, and put them on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, before I tell you what the other ability is, does this sound familiar? Because it should. A level 0 Dankness that sits in the back row that happens to be in the same combo with a 2-1 Vanir that pulls a level 3 Dankness back into your deck? I don't suppose his second ability would be something about searching out a level 3 and putting it onto the stage with Vanir and Forest Dankness under it as markers, would it? I wonder. Well, it does. It's Gurren, it's Roseweiss, it's Combine. I talked about this in the set preview. This is our shiny combo at level 3, so obviously, like Gurren Lagann, we're looking to put big bodies on the board before their time, and you might remember that we're still packing the level 1 change Vanir, so basically, the plan is to play level 3s in unfair ways and sit on them, and the other level 2 we're packing really helps that. Dead on Accuracy Dankness gives all your level 3 characters in front of her plus 2k, and once per turn, when you play another character, you can give another character plus 1 level until the end of next turn. The second ability makes siding even more annoying, but she's mainly here to make our level 3 game that comes out at level 1 and 2 even more unfair, and she can be rested to help us brainstorm. A nice inclusion for us and a great way to cap out the level 2. Now, let's talk about what happens at level 3, though honestly, if things are going well, you'll see all of these cards before that, like Power of the Masked Dankness. She's the change target for the level 1 Vanir, and she has 3 abilities. First, at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can pay 1 and switch this character with another character's position and stand them. So if your opponent is trying to kill her during the attack phase, they're going to have a bad time. Second, when you don't cancel damage and she's in your center stage, you can look at the top card of your deck and either put it back on top or in your waiting room, thus helping you cancel more damage. And finally, at the start of your climax phase, you can choose a card called Duke of Hell Vanir in your waiting room and put it on the position of the stage that this card was on for absolutely free. So you can start these shenanigans at level 1 and just keep doing them the whole game, making your board extremely hard to deal with. Obviously, you can use her switching ability and top check ability and keep gaining free advantage, but what about the changing part? Well, Dankness has a lot of defensive abilities, but on your turn, at the start of each climax phase, you can take Vanir out of your waiting room and put him on the stage where Dankness was for an offensive switch. Base 8500, during your turn he gets plus 2k, and when damage dealt by him is cancelled, either the turn he's played from your hand or the turn he's brought onto the stage through change, you can mill the top card and deal X plus 1 damage where X is level, a good Musashi. So Dankness switches into Vanir and gives you an aggressive finisher. And guess what? At the start of your opponent's draw phase, he switches back into Dankness for free and gives her plus 2500 until the end of turn. So yeah, the idea is you switch them back and forth, Dankness for defense and Vanir for offense every turn for free. Or you could just play out Vanir's at the endgame for a secondary finisher. It's not like he's a good Musashi or anything. But what about the primary finisher? Well, this is our new combined Gurren Lagann and the result of the Dankness Vanir fusion combo, MUSCLEBRAINED Crusader Dankness. When she comes in, you can top check 3 and add 1, and at base 9k, she gets plus 500 for each other character, and she's our finishing climax combo that rolls with the choice climax, one of English's first instances of this trigger. When she attacks and my defensive strength is in your climax zone, if you have 4 or more other characters, she gets the following ability until the end of your opponent's next turn. When damage dealt by this card or this card's battle opponent is cancelled, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So it's cancel burn and then reverse cancel burn. Man, don't you love killing your opponent on their turn? It's a pretty slick combo, and the pain starts at level 2 in most cases. You can just keep cancel burning them on your turn and theirs, and the pings really start to add up. It can be super brutal. I love this new Dankness, and it captures her flavor in an awesome way. So yeah, that's the deck. We took some really aggressive early plays and changes the Dankness and Vanir had to offer, and we built a deck around them. So how do we handle it? Well, the first thing I want to say about this deck is that, yes, it's absolutely greedy as hell. It takes a lot of resources to make work, and the margins for it are really thin sometimes. Choosing one of these 2 early play packages would make the deck a lot more stable, but fuck that, it's Dankness. If you want to double down like I did, I'd follow some of this advice. At level 0, the deck is very hungry. At the outset, it's very tempting to try to sculpt your hand to both execute the level 1 combo and the Vanity or Change combo, but it requires a lot of cards in your hand to do, and if you try to pad your hand for all of that, it's going to be tough to put stuff on the field and keep up. Focus on the level 1 combo as much as you can since it's your best source of free advantage. Let the Vanity or level 1 change come naturally if it does, and don't be heartbroken if it doesn't. If you have a second turn at level 1, a well-placed Brainstorm or strategic use of Break in the Forest Darkness can get you what you need to execute it anyway. And at level 1, while it's tempting to try to protect your level 1 Darknesses since they're so meaty, you're better off saving your backups to protect your early plays in most cases. At level 2, you're basically looking to do the Fusion combo at least twice. Your ideal board here is 2 MUSCLEBRAINED Crusaders and 1 Power the Masked Darkness, and this is probably how you're going to ride the rest of the game. At the end of the game, check your hand to see if you have the choice climax for Darkness. If you do, it's a good idea to focus on that to finish, but if not, you can always use the Vanity to finish the game without the change ability. The best part is, if your opponent's not dead, he still switches back to Darkness. Overall, the build is pretty meme-tastic, and fielding so many level 3s that are so annoying to deal with fits right into what we expect from Darkness. And even if this isn't the most stable or consistent version of the build, it's been super fun to play so far, and I look forward to busting it out for many tournaments to come. For fun games, of course. Anyway, that's where I'm wrapping up for now, players. With cool new sets on the horizon and another Konosuba deck tech to touch on, there's a lot of work to do. Hell, I'm not even done with Overlord yet. God, there's so much to do. So I'd better get to it. And of course, be on the lookout for some new videos focused more on the strategy element of Weiss for beginners. I'm working on a new series to help out you players that are just getting into the game, and you can find the first installment in the description. Look forward to more on that, and of course, more of the usual set previews, deck techs, and with some luck, some box openings. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.